Hello and good afternoon, Doctor. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Very excited to talk with you because I feel like that I'm living this book, or I've got chapters in it that it's like, oh my God, it is so speaking the street.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
It's there. I'll tell you the level that we're presently at. It's the grandparents with the older daughter who's got the kids. And when you say parenting at a child's pace, that's exactly what my daughter is doing with her kids. It's their pace, and that's why this book is so important in this modern age.
I think it's so important because there's just so much information out there and so much competing advice, and it can be really debilitating for parents sometimes to figure out what's the best thing to do for their kids. And so I think it's really important that we work to synthesize that information and figure out what makes sense for us and our own family and parent for our kids, and trusting our inner gut that we know what's best to do.
Yeah. The thing that I love about it is that you really do kind of introduce it, and it's right here in front of us, emotionally nurturing space. And that because a lot of people don't, they want to keep away from everything, but that they don't want to be known as an introvert. But if we just give them space, they'll come out.
Yeah, I know. I agree exactly. And sometimes we're comparing our children too much to other people or other kids or other things we see online, and we're not giving them the space to really develop at their own pace. And there's such a wide range of what's normal for so many different things that oftentimes we worry way too early, and we don't need to be worried.
Now, is there a difference between the right way and the way that the child has?
Well, I think that the right way at the end of the day is what makes sense for your family and what's best for your child. And what's frustrating and difficult for parents these days is that everybody seems to have an opinion on what the best way to do everything is, and that there's only one right way and their way is the right way. And that's not always true or correct for your family. And so as a parent, I think it's really important that we work through that information and then decide what we feel like is best for our parents, and just trust that we're making the right decision.
The thing that I really am trying to, be faithful with is the fact that, I wish my parents would have had this book, because I would have gone the holistic way if they would have known there was the holistic way. I was the black sheep of the family, and it's like, why didn't we have this before now? Or was it there? We just didn't talk about it.
I think it's been around, but it's not as common. It's still certainly not as common to have a holistic spin on things or an integrative spin. I grew up pretty regular family, regular way. I used to eat fast food and play sports and do all the things that you would do as a young kid in Canada, and I didn't really even think about any of this stuff until I got older, met my wife who's more holistic minded, and really saw patients struggling in the medical system and learning about integrative medicine and integrative health. I don't think that there shouldn't be two different things. I mean, it should be what we're all doing. There's no reason that we can't think about prevention. There's no reason that we shouldn't be thinking about the root cause of what's going on. There's no reason we shouldn't be thinking about our diet and sleep and exercise and all of these things, but it's just not what we're focused on as much these days, because we're so focused on faster, cheaper, better, and we're losing out on our health. So that's where I wanted to really reshift the focus back and talk about these basic fundamentals and basic foundations, so that way we can get to a better place with our health.
Is it my imagination? It seems like families are getting larger, and that really brings back a lot of memories of my parents, because we had 8 kids, and that meant that there were 8 different personalities they had to take care of. As families get larger, they're coming from what in the background? A lot of these kids, or a lot of these young parents, only had 1 or 2 members of the family.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's all kinds of different families these days, and so there's such a wide range of what we call a family, and more kids, less kids. I think it depends on where you are, but there's such a difference of what we consider even to be a family these days that it's so unique to each group and each family. And that's why I think it goes back to, again, like parenting at your child's pace, thinking about your family, doing what's right for you, because everybody has different values. And I really think that we can do what's right for our own kids without increasing our stress or having to listen to what everybody else is saying all the time.
Mental health has become something that we're all talking about. When I was a child, we didn't talk too much about that, and even my brother had some mental problems, but my mom never talked about it. We have got to get into this support system. How do we do that? Because you even talk about it in the book. Stress management is so important.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. So you bring up a great point in terms of, I think that's the biggest key is, first of all, just talking about it. I mean, I've really been glad to see that we are talking about it a lot more these days, and I think that's the first step, so that way people aren't suffering in silence. And really speaking to other trusted family members, speaking to your doctors, getting connected with mental health, assistance if you need it, a great therapist, whatever it is. I think that the first step is just talking about it and getting connected, so that way you can get the support, because there is a lot of support and a lot of things that we can do to help us when we are stressed, and especially when you're becoming a parent, whether you're pregnant or have a newborn, there are enough stresses already. And if you throw in, mental health issues and not prioritizing yourself, it can be really, really difficult. And we need to encourage parents to prioritize themselves also, because we know at the end of the day that if you want to have healthy kids, that they need healthy parents. And the more that we take care of ourselves, the more that we can take care of our kids. And so we have to prioritize not just our kids, but ourselves and our mental health as well. And there is no more important time than when you're having a baby to do that.
Yeah. You're going to think I'm insane when I say this, but I think that a lot of businesses need to read this book, and they need to activate this book, because, employees are children. I realize we're in grown-up clothes and things, but we're still children, and we still go through the same things that we did as kids.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree, and I think a lot of the principles that run throughout the book are useful and relevant to all of us. Especially at the beginning of the book, I talk about the foundations of health, and that's just as true for adults as it is for children, that we need to focus on our diets and sleep and exercise and our mental health. These are things that are important for everybody. And so, yeah, I agree. I think it's something that is very important to really think through our health and our wellness as a society.
A two-sided question. Number one, is it too late to help our children? And number two, when should we be watching our kids? Right after birth or when they turn 1?
So it's never too late. There's no such thing as too late, because no matter when you start or when you become a little bit more health conscious, you're assisting them, you're helping them out, you're providing resilience. And even if you do have a condition, maybe you can minimize the effects of the condition. Maybe you can get rid of the condition. Maybe you can decrease the medications that you're on. So it's never too late, but it's also never too early. I think that what we're seeing these days is this rise in chronic conditions, and the rise in chronic conditions comes from the long-term choices that we're making. All the little things that we do, they add up. And so, if you're a parent-to-be, then let's start thinking about these basic foundations today, making small changes today, and that's going to affect you and your children in the long run.
Every bit the reason why they should have this book inside their homes. Where can people go to find out more about you and what you are doing with our community?
So you can go to my Instagram or X, Dr. Joel Gator, or you can grab the book, Parenting at Your Child's Pace, at all the regular places like Amazon, or you can go to parentingatyourchildspace.com.
Please come back to this show anytime in the future, Doctor. I really love where your heart is, and it's in the right place.
Well, thank you so much. I would love to. Have a great rest of the day.